Hey guys, welcome back to Self-Aware Leader. I'm Jason Rigby, and today we're going to talk about visualization. And I already know what some of you just did. You heard that word and you checked out a little. Because visualization sounds like vision board, sounds like some guy on a beach telling you the universe is going to give you that corner office. You just need to wait to show up for it. That's not what I'm talking about today. Here's my whole point today. You're already doing this every week. You just do it backwards. And I want you to think about the last hard conversation you had to have. The one you were dreading. Where was your head the night before? What were you thinking of while you were showering or staring at the ceiling at midnight? What did you say back to yourself? Did you visualize how it's going sideways, how you're going to be embarrassed? What were you rehearsing? And I think a lot of times it's not us rehearsing more than it is us running this midnight loop. Every version in our head ends up with us looking like a fraud and the whole thing blowing up. And a lot of times we call it preparing, but I'm going to be honest. I used to do this for years, and I told myself it was me being responsible or thinking of worst case scenario. And I want to kind of give you an example. And this really flipped it for me. Michael Phelps, we all know who he is, 2008 Beijing. He's at the 200 fly final. Biggest stage there is. And one of the worst things that can happen happened to him. His goggles fell, and they start filling up with water. Middle of an Olympic final, and he's going blind in the pool. I want you to do the math on what should happen there. Everything he's ever worked for, gone because of a piece of cheap rubber. You know what he did? He counted his strokes blind. And from that, he won the gold and set a world record. And here's the part that got me. The reason he did that is because his coach made him rehearse that on purpose for years. He had to visualize and picture the goggles filling up, picture the worst version. But you know what happened? He just didn't rehearse the disaster. He began to rehearse how he was going to excel at this, how he would be able to count his strokes. And I want you to marinate on this. He rehearsed the disaster, and then he rehearsed the way out. And that's the whole thing right there. So I want to make this concrete for you because this is where it gets real. Let's say you just got promoted. First time running people who used to be your peers. And there's that one person on your team. We're going to call her Susan. And Susan's been there for 8 years. She knows the day-to-day operations better than you do. Honestly, she's really, really good at it. But she has this issue. She talks over people. She refuses things she doesn't want to work on. She's not a team player. And people see it. And you had a conversation with her about taking a handoff from another team, and she kind of in a mean way refused it in front of a bunch of people, and they all saw it. Now you have to have the conversation, don't you? And you're terrified. Because in your head, you're not her boss. You're just the new kid who got the job that she maybe even wanted. So the night before you run it, you know the loop. You have her cutting you off. You have her saying who you really are. You see yourself going red and losing the room. You see yourself walking to HR. And then you finally look and say, I've lost all respect with my team, and they kind of see me as a joke. And you've done this 40 times before you fall asleep. What have you done? You've walked into that meeting with Susan having already lost it 40 times. What's going to happen? Of course you're going to mess up. Of course you're going to be shaky. Your rehearsal was shaky. So I want us to kind of get into what's happening under the hood. And I'm going to keep this really simple for you today. There's a part of your brain whose only job is to pull the alarm. I want you to think of that. There's this part of your brain that wants to pull the alarm. Threat, danger, get out. And it's fast and it's dumb. It does not care about your career. It does not care if she's cutting you off. All that it cares about is fight or flight. I need to get out of this room right now. And it's going to take the will and it's going to light up. But there's this other part of you, the calm part, the adult. It's the job that you need to train and rehearse to reach over and put a hand on the alarm and cut it off. And here's what nobody tells you. That calm part gets stronger every time you use it. Every rep of staying composed while something goes wrong, even if it's just in your head. And you can build this out. So when it happens in actual real-time live, that calm part just shows up. You don't have to white knuckle it. It's already there. And that's not woo-woo, guys. That's how the wiring works in your brain. There's tons of research on this. But that calm part runs on fuel. For you to be calm, there has to be sleep. That's the fuel. If you're running on 4 hours in cortisol, that calm part is gone. It's offline. It does not matter how much you rehearsed. And the alarm will win every single time. So if you're grinding yourself into the ground and then wondering why you keep losing your composure, maybe some of you have anger issues and you just get angry, or you feel like somebody's attacking your character. That's the system that you've starved. And you cannot out-technique exhaustion. Sleep is the leadership skill no one puts on the list that I think is one of the most important. And you should take the time to study sleep, watch podcasts, go on YouTube, understand, get a sleep ritual down, because that's going to help you more than anything when you have to have these hard conversations. So let's get into the practical part. What do you actually do? So 10 minutes, here's the whole practice. 1, set the actual scene, not vague. Just like Michael Phelps, you've got to be specific. Don't just think about the meeting. Put yourself in the room. The bad lighting. She's sitting in the chair looking angry. The time of day, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You just got done with lunch. What are you wearing? Because vague rehearsal does nothing. Specifics is where your brain begins to comprehend the whole process. Number 2, run it from your own eyes. First person, like you're standing there. This one's for your nervous system. You're going to feel the tension in your chest, and you need to pay attention. Self-aware leader, feel her pushback, but practice staying in your body and see what that feels like. Number 3, step back and watch yourself on film. Observe yourself. Be the observer. Different angle, different job. From up here, you see the branches. Where could it fork? What could you say if she goes defensive or she gets angry? Maybe she's passive-aggressive and she goes super cold. What are you feeling inside for those nerves, outside for the plan? That's where you're going to really be able to, as Michael Phelps did, be able to break a world record. And then number 4, rehearse it going wrong. This is the one that everybody skips. I want you to picture Susan cutting you off. Now what do you do? What do you do when she cuts you off and she's already angry? You can't leave that blank. You have to decide. Right now, what am I going to say? What if she interrupts and she won't let you finish? She does that with everybody else. Why wouldn't she do that with you being a new manager? How are you going to say it? Are you going to say, I hear you, but we still need to get through this? Or are you going to go quiet and get angry or walk out the room? If this, then that. You need to preload the move. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? If she gets emotional, if, then this. She shuts down and goes quiet. If, then this. Whatever she throws, you've already got it. Like Phelps counted the strokes with his eyes full of water and being blind and broke that record. And then number 5, 3 points, then stop. Before you walk in, you know the exact 3 things you're going to say. Not 10, 3. Future focus. What changes, what good looks like, and what you'll do to help her and how you can understand her and see where she's coming from. What are you going to do to back her up? That's it. 10 minutes and done. So here's what I want you to do this week. You've got a hard conversation coming. You already know the one. Maybe you've been passive aggressive and haven't been, you should have this conversation. I've talked to leaders all the time and they've waited months before they have a conversation. And you've been running it in your head over and over and over again. Take these same 10 minutes and point it somewhere. Set the scene, feel it from the inside, step back, map all the forks and which way it's going to go, then rehearse it going wrong, and then what 3 points, just 3, are you going to do to bring it back? And then after you do that, if you do that enough, Alex Hormozzi talks about this. He goes, the reason you're nervous on stage is because you haven't rehearsed enough, and it's the same thing. If you're nervous or if you're feeling something in your nervous system, you need to rehearse more. A lot of people rehearse just a few times. This may take you 100 times. You need to be disciplined because the conversation can go right if you rehearse enough. And then I want you to get some sleep. That's the part that makes the rest of it work. If you want the deeper version of this, guys, if you want scripts, if you want to know how to run board meetings, if you want to learn about negotiations, if you want to understand yourself better as a self-aware leader, go to jasonrigby.substack.com. And that's where everything goes. We have Tons of articles and podcasts on there. We also have YouTube and my website, selfawarepodcast.com. Sign up for all of it. It's free. Links are in the show note, guys. Be a self-aware leader. See you next week.